moving on from Atmanirbhar. So to become Atmanirbhar, we need to evolve. We need to evolve, we need to try. When we try, we will fail. And when we fail, we have to overcome the failures. So talking about this is our next speaker, Mr. Riyaz Lakhani. Mr. Lakhani is a veteran professional, 2 decades plus of experience, worked in many startups, established companies. Now he has his own company, QuicSolv Technologies. He's passionate about cricket, reading, biking, and gadgets. So now he'll talk us about his failures and how he got up through them. His topic is biggest mistake we make during product development, a case study. So welcome, Mr. Lakhani.
Last October, I was sitting with a deputy general manager of a large automotive manufacturing company, telling him about our computer vision-based edge computing products and solutions that they could use in their systems. And he threw a question. He said, Riyaz, can you track a product on my conveyor belt? Give me an identification of what the product is. Count how many products have gone on the conveyor. Do a real-time quality control on there. And finally, make sure that if the quality control fails, you send an interrupt to the machine, to the PLC, and stop the press machine. And by the way, the product is produced at 28 strokes per minute, 28 SPM. That means you literally have 2 seconds to identify, classify, do the quality control analysis, and send an interrupt if something goes wrong. Now, we are all product managers, right? We love challenges. We love challenges. It kind of gives that adrenaline rush inside us. What do you think I said? Yes, we can do it. Yes, we will do it. Now, backdrop. I said, okay, things like we already have a computer vision solution, edge computing. We can do that, not a problem. We know we can. For people who do not know about edge computing basically is something like a machine learning algorithm which we build on our supercomputers. It's gigabytes in size, but then you crunch it, you zip it up into multiples of kilobytes, maybe around 200 plus or less than 200 kilobytes, shove it into a camera, and then make it available as edge computing. Right? So that's what you do is edge computing. So we said, okay, we have that. As far as sending the interrupt to the server, that's also fine. We have already built our Bluetooth-based transmitters. We will send the decision from the camera to the transmitter, to the Bluetooth transmitter, which the signal will be received via Bluetooth receiver. The receiver will pick that up, use RS-232 to communicate with the PLC, and the machine will stop. Theoretically, I think we are set. No problem. Everything is hunky-dory. The purchase order was released. Teams were assembled. Everything was perfectly fine. And then we failed. All right. How many of you here believe that an idea is the most important criteria for a successful product? A few of you. One of them, yeah. But the most important, not the most important. Okay. How many of you here believe that execution is one of the most important features to make a product successful? Oh, that's a whoppy 80%. Very good. How many of you feel that investor backing or money is the most important aspect of a product success? No. Wow. Product people do not feel money is important, which is good. Okay. All right. Theoretically, but true, yes. All right. Well, none of the above was the reason for our failure. You know why we failed? We failed because we did not listen to our customers. We did not teach our teams to understand the customer and the customer environment. Now, I kind of feel dumb here, standing telling you about, oh, you need to understand your customer's problem, you need to take about a customer and then give it to build into your product, because we all know that, right? But you know what happens is, as we build organizations, we create the BIRBAL ki KHICHADI, all right? So that's the money man, the customer who gave us the order. That's me sitting there, our visions mapped with each other. We kind of collaborated. I sent them information to the techno salesperson. The techno salesperson got that data, went and spoke to the customer, understood the requirements, made specification documents, got receivables, everything put together on paper, signed and everything, gave it to the builders. And the builders built it. Built it in their nice, sweet, air conditioning office with reclining chairs and refrigeration and everything, and they built it. And the inevitable happened. So we built it and we never saw the light of the day. So I'll tell you where we failed. So once the computer vision camera was fitted and everything, we realized that the host machine, which is going to communicate with all the 5 cameras together, obviously was not going to be sitting in a server room with minus 17 degrees Celsius. It was going to be sitting in a scorching heat shop floor environment with 35 plus degrees Celsius, and it's going to burn. So it roughly ran for 2.5 minutes and it burned. Heat, dust, environment, vibration, all of that, and it went bust in 2.5 minutes. The computer vision, edge computing, beautiful device that we built was sitting on a nice cantilever structure on the shop floor. But we didn't realize that the cantilever structure was heavily influenced by the conveyor running below, which made the camera move. Now, cameras work on something called autofocus, right? So when they focus, they look at an object, they autofocus, get the vision, and out. Now, remember, we've got only 2 seconds. I've only 2 seconds to not only take the picture, analyze it, and send it out. So what happened is, because of the autofocus lost, we actually lost it. We weren't able to see the vision at all. Finally, we realized that when the product moves on a conveyor belt, the conveyor belt shifts the product. The product shifts on the conveyor belt. And as it shifts, the orientation of the product changes, which doesn't go well with the machine learning algorithm that we fed inside the camera. So when the product is looking at from this angle, the product is already shifted. Doesn't work. So that was our challenge. That was the biggest issue that we had. Now, we wanted to make a dent in the industry. We wanted to make sure that our computer vision products are accepted and being used by many of the organizations. So we said, okay, what do? We changed our outlook. We took our people, lifted them from those offices, and threw them on the field. Go and listen to your customer. Go and see what they're doing. Go and see what environments are you running in. So they ran in. Most of my product management team, or product building team basically, was at the shop floor, going on rotation basis, talking to the customer. They spent hours and hours and hours. I said hours and days, sitting with the customer, making prototypes, demonstrating it, failing, again doing the prototypes, again failing, till the time they were able to take that to the next level. They continued doing that. It required a change in a complete mindset of product development. It required a complete change in the outlook. I lost a lot of people on the way because there are a lot of people who didn't believe that we should leave our comforts of our air-conditioned office and go into a field and do this kind of work. But the people who stayed back with us, people who retained, had a very clear sense of the vision that the company had for the customer, for the industry, and they shared that vision with the same passion that we had. So, this is a prototype, vision of a prototypes that we did. And you can see that we've been able to solve the vibration problem, we've been able to solve the vision problem, as well as the orientation problem. And finally, we were able to, will this video play? Will this video play? Yeah, play from there. Yeah. So in all, if I look at it, back at it, till the time we get this started off playing, when I look back at it, what made us successful was obviously listening to the customer, understanding the customer, and operating in their environment. Unless you sit in their environment and operate, it's impossible for us to get out a product which will be scalable, which will be liked by the customer, and which will add value to the end of the day. No, not playing? Okay, no worries. So basically, it's a video that shows the product moving on the conveyor belt. The digit that you see there basically is the number. It automatically counts how many products have gone through the conveyor belt. It automatically does the quality control analysis, and obviously sends out the report at the end of the day. All without needing to go to the internet. Everything happened right there, real time. Thank you.
So thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your story and how you found your way out finally. So any questions from the audience on this?
First question I have is, how did you manage to get the customer to buy the product in the first place?
Yeah, I think many a times it's the vision that you share with the customer that really helps. And when you share that vision and you show the ability of the technology, the automotive company that I'm talking about is already very visionary. They believe in looking at the future. And yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention that the purchase order that was released had one condition. We would not be paid until the product was completely running for at least 45 days. So they had nothing to lose in a way, but they had a lot of time that they had to invest to help us go and reach to that level.
So there are actually customers who are unwilling to even sign an NDA without seeing things in action, doing a factory visit and stuff like that. So you getting a PO itself is great.
Yes, thank you. That's a wonderful thought process. Yeah, it's very difficult to get customers asking you at least for a test bed. Yes, ma'am. This was not the proof of concept. We had done a similar project before that because that helped with the proof of. So we did for a paper manufacturing company, for a paper printing company basically. So we had the ability to see the printing that was done on the paper was moving at almost 20 frames per second. And we used our camera to check every printed box that was printed, every paper that was printed, was it printed correctly, and did it have all the necessary things on it. So that was one. There was another company in Assam, tea manufacturing company that used to manufacture the bags, manufacture tea. But the bags they used to take from a vendor also used to manufacture bags for other vendors. So what happened is he used to mix up the bags. So company A, company B used to go to company B, company A. And during rush time, these people used to pick the bags, fill them up and transport. It used to be very intangible kind of a loss. So we built a system for them which they could just put it on a conveyor belt. System would pick it up and classify if it is a problem. Small red light and buzzer used to blow if the image on the bag was not in line with what we had specified in the cover. So yeah, there were two proof of concepts done, or two products, two actually implementations done before they actually allowed us to work on this.
Nice.
Yeah, one more here.
Yeah, so yes.
Hi, myself Shirish.
Hi, Shirish.
Actually, I appreciate the thing for 45 days which the company gives and everything to demonstrate. And how actually the sustainability after 45 days and for years going further, how the sustainability we have to take care. The customer should retain, and after this period, what we have done. So on the long term, how should be there?
I think it's a wonderful question. It comes from somebody who is building products and understands the next step. Yeah, we've done it. Now what? So yeah, you're right. Basically, the whole idea about this case study, when I spoke to even these guys, was that I wanted to share with you that we failed. And very few people come out and say that we failed. But also the process that once this is done, we have to set up a proper maintenance plan. So how will we maintain these cameras? How often do these cameras need to change because of the environment and the vibrations? The cameras and the circuits do break. So we need to change these cameras after a few weeks. And there are certain signals that we've already built into the product. So as soon as they hit certain hours of working, we get those signals from the product as how many hours the system has been working, it's due for change. I think that's a major part of your product development and product maintenance that you have to put in through, and obviously build it into your proposal so that you can maintain the product moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last question, yes.
Yes.
Hi, sir. So I'm product manager of Blowhorn, and we are into 3PL logistic. So you spoke about QC check and everything. So how can this solve the logistic problem? Let's say the quality is not good, and it has to be segregated in the unlocked inventory or somewhere else. So how can that be solved? Because the camera can detect, the camera can send the report, but how will the machine will segregate the good quality or versus the bad quality?
So we're implementing this project currently in a capsule manufacturing company. And you know how capsules are. When the capsules are manufactured, they're like hundreds of capsules going on the belt. So our machine learning algorithm, camera basically is focusing on the capsules, and we built a small mechanical pushback. So as soon as, and in fact, we also did it for our printing machine customer. So as soon as we saw that there was a particular box that was not printed correctly, we would push it out. So it's a mechanical switch that actually pushes that part out and stops it. Like for example, in your capsule, we are now stopping the conveyor also. Because if there is a few capsules that are not coming correct, I think the entire batch is going to get bad. So we stop it. But in case of the printing, we could not stop it because it was running too fast. We just had a mechanical switch that was running fast and moving those boxes out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lakhani. It was very interesting to hear your story.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for the interesting questions, audience.
Thank you.
So we have two more speakers.